All right, good afternoon. Welcome. This is Group Delta's presentation. Title of our presentation, Measuring Student Engagement with Undergraduates. My name is Brent Larson. I'm a doctoral student and full-time teacher at Omaha Central High School.
My name is Amy Tankersley, and I am a doctoral student at UNL and also a graduate assistant there.
And my name is Elena Bassett, and I'm an audiologist and doctoral student at the University of Nebraska-Lincoln.
Okay.
Next. Okay, next slide. Purpose, construction, test population. Our study aims to compare measures of student engagement of undergraduate college students in the college education. And what we're aiming to do is link those measures of engagement to academic performance and retention. So what we're wanting to do is we're wanting to gather student survey data on engagement from and kind of on several different areas, from classes, peer interaction, and overall counts, and then compare that survey data to performance data like grade and retention rates and engagement. So the importance of student engagement and learning. Student engagement is one of those complex factors. There are many intrinsic and behavioral factors to engagement and learning. Psychologists typically look at the intrinsic factors for motivation and engagement, but from an educational standpoint, we typically focus on the behavioral factors because of the ability to create interventions that can be developed to focus on those factors and to help increase student engagement. Therefore, the reason this is an issue on college campuses is that 49% of the freshmen who start college, only 49% of those freshmen will graduate with a bachelor's degree within 6 years of start. And there's several issues with this, but there have been interactions with faculty, engagement, and interest in the classes. And there have been several studies found that student engagement is actually linked to higher achievement, higher grades, higher test scores, higher participation both in campus activity, in classrooms, and group activity, and then retention. Actually staying college and the STEM program and following that program throughout to their eventual degree. Some factors that affect student engagement. There are intrinsic factors of motivation, things like background, age, gender. There's been a study found that girls are more intrinsically motivated in boys. And also there's an age range that middle school students most age, and that goes down to high school and college. And as well as we're going to focus on the behavioral aspect. These are the things that so these are things like the activities or lessons have participation in classroom. Things like problem-based learning, collaboration, authentic real-life experience. Another thing that teachers can influence is classroom climate. So students report higher levels of engagement with teachers that are more caring and supportive. Also classrooms that are more collaborative and where they feel like they are more a part of the classroom. And then one last thing is that colleges and high schools have found that the more community parent involvement that they can incorporate into structure, higher level of engagement for students. And so there's several ways that student engagement can actually be measured. One of the things through direct food surveys, so actually giving students a series of questions. We're going to talk about some of those today.
There's
There's
also
also
a researcher or teacher
observations,
either
classroom
classroom
observations
or
observations around the school.
and then
And
also
then also
teacher and
teacher
administrator
surveys
surveys
as
as well.
well.
And
And
in
in
combination
combination
with
with rehabilitation.
there are a lot of topics
that
focus
focus
on
on
surveys,
but
but one of several are classroom activities. Different types of activities, how they're used in the classroom, feelings on those activities, attitudes towards those activities, faculty interactions, how students feel like interact with faculty, or how faculty interact with them, how they feel like relationships, access to faculty, access to one-on-one attention, over school or college environment, talk about campus clubs, how much they feel part of the college, found to be a factor, especially in and educational aspirations, what the students are. That's one of the factors that affects the rest of the way students interact across the classroom. Peer interaction, collaborative learning has been found to increase and actually grade well. Collaborative learning, working with other students, problem solving, questions, assignments, actually feeling like we're working together instead of working by yourself. And then also just pointed out to various aspects of life, whether it's classes that they're taking, their living situation, general feeling of being a part of camp. Yeah. And then, so we're going to be collecting student data, student survey data from undergraduates from the college. Primarily, our data used to compare levels of student engagement, performance data like grade, and then retention rate. And we'll use that primarily to programs and faculty about courses. So looking at how the departments grow and what are some ways that some interventions that may can affect students and improve student engagement. Other things that can be done is we can also look at subgroups and stuff like gender, international students, socioeconomic status, some of the subgroups who actually focus interventions on particular subgroups that are at risk of dropping out or having low performance. And assess some of the activity or some of the interventions that are typically normal education course, and how they're doing, how that's affecting, and also look at how interactions with students is affected. So through how students feel like they are in touch one-on-one with faculty, or how much they are part of the department from which they're in the graduate.
Alright, so the way in which to develop our purpose of our test or develop our construct, we have to look at previous literature as we chose to look at, with the motivated strategies for learning questionnaire or the MSLQ, and the National Survey of Student Engagement, the NSSQ. Next. For the motivated strategies for learning questionnaire or the MSLQ, this test was developed by Cristian College, colleagues at the University of Michigan, in order to determine undergraduate student engagement. This measure is developed to assess learning strategies, task-specific motivations, as well as cognition as it relates to engagement. So the basis of this measure is sociocognitive behavior, meaning that it has been suggested that the manner in which a student engages in their academic coursework is reflected by their self-regulated learning strategies as well as their overall academic performance. This test is is relatively, or excuse me, this measure is relatively easy to administer, taking 20 to 30 minutes in duration. It includes 81 items and is a paper pencil questionnaire. This measure is directed towards students and is usually provided by professors at the beginning of the semester in order to determine a student's engagement within the course they are enrolled. It is free for administration. As long as the authors are adequately cited at the time that the measure is provided. Next. So the item provided on the MSLQ are divided into two sections, motivation and learning strategy. There are 81 items, as previously stated, on the test, with 4 subsections and 15 subscale items. All of these items are directed towards the student. Subsections include goal, control and beliefs and anxiety, also known as value components and expected components, as well as cognitive and metacognitive strategies students can utilize, and resource management. Throughout, the students respond to each item on a Likert type scale, with 1 being not true of me and 7 being very true of me. So, if the student wants to respond to the question, I am highly motivated to do my best in this course, they would respond either in a value between 1 and 7, with 1 being not true, but they are not highly motivated to learn the course, or 7, very true, but they are highly motivated to succeed in the course. Next. For these referencing for this measure, it was interesting to note that it could be applied in 2 ways. So the MSL can be utilized as a measure for a single student in which the professor is trying to assess where the student stands within the course and the interest in the course. The measure provided to the single student is a criterion reference measure, considering that there are no nationally developed norms established for the MSLQ. What is suggested for the MSLQ, if provided to an entire course by a professor, is that local norms are developed. And with the development of local norms, this would be a norm reference test. Within the class-wide administration, there is the opportunity for the professor to give feedback for the student in regards to the subsections. So when the test is completed, they also within the course, so the professor can gauge the student's abilities. The feedback provided to the students is a score breakdown that represents the bottom 25%, middle 50%, and top 25% of the class. A student would receive their feedback to show where they fell as compared to their peers. For intervention purposes, and assuming that their responses are related to their behavior, the professor can then target academic counseling as well as intervention towards those students within the bottom 25% of their course. It is suggested that students who are within the bottom 25% for 6 of the total 9 scales here would be heavily targeted for intervention for their success within the course. Next.
And the other test that we had a chance to take a look at was the National Survey of Student Engagement, the NSSE survey. The purpose, the instrument was designed to provide colleges and universities information about the student experience and institutional performance to improve undergraduate education, inform accountability and accreditation efforts, and facilitate national and sector benchmarking efforts. It was as the other test took a look at things at the student level, this survey is looking at things at the department level. It's going to take a look at, it's going to take those student responses, but the student doesn't receive the score. It's the department that receives a score, or the university that receives a score. 2 age groups take this. Freshmen and seniors at the university do the survey. It's a little bit shorter in time. It's a 10 to 15 minute survey. There's 38 questions, but each question has responses in there. There's a total of 98 responses to give to the test, so very similar in volume to the other test. The survey, which can be offered through paper form, computer, and just recently, the past couple of years, they've opened it up to accommodate for mobile devices. They're trying to make it very, very student friendly to be able to work through it. In the item types, it matches the other test with the Likert type rating scale just in one section. There's 34-point frequency scale questions where they're asking responses to be very often, sometimes, and never. You look at this, and you could take that same question of do you attend class regularly? And you could ask that rather than on a scale of 1 to 7. They end up asking that question in the scale of the 4 options. 29 questions. Change it up just a little bit, and rather than doing a never, they have a very little. So very much, quite a bit, some, and very little. 11 questions were frequency distribution scales, where it was saying how many hours per week do you study? 0 to 5, 6 to 10, 26 to 30. How many papers of more than 20 pages do you turn in during the course of the term? 6 questions were on that 7-point rating scale, and 6 questions were on the completeness scale, whether they were done, in progress, plan to do, or do not plan to do. So it was a mixture of questions throughout the test, and this was based on the most recent test in 2016. If you do your math, you obviously add that up, and that's all 98 questions. And what you end up with for the remaining pieces are kind of a census type questions, where they're asking about the major, the GPA, the number of classes that they've been registered for, how much social activity and other involvement outside of the classes that they have been doing. So they're looking at not only engagement in the classroom, but they're looking for what type of engagement do you have outside of the classroom. The scoring on this is a norm reference test. Following each round of surveys, the organization takes all of the results and collects them, and their norm tables are updated. The table was first introduced in 2000, and it had norm tables developed from the piloting stages, and every year since, each term since, the norm tables are updated. And just to let our group know, we just got a couple minutes left. All right, so next, the comparison.
So between the NSSC and the MS of reliability and validity, it was noted that the NSSC has increased reliability as compared to the MSLQ. The range is now the coefficients for the MSLQ being observed to be lower for the tested constructs as compared to the NSSC. For validity, each measure has been analog as for content, construct, and criteria. The goal is shown again that the NSSC provides the highest validity as compared to the MSLQ. For this, it's important to think about the context in which both of these tests are administered. With the MSLQ being a course-dependent test with no values related to it, and the NSSB being a nationally recognized and college-based test with norms associated. It is possible that just between the differentiation between how the two are administered, we are seeing these differences between reliability and validity measurement. It's important to note that although that is recognized engagement is a deceptively simple concept, so it is possible that although these are well researched, there's still room to grow in developing a measure to truly engage, and perhaps these items aren't really capturing all the components, like Amy had that are involved in what draws a student to their coursework. Therefore, both measures require further refinement to adequately capture what we consider student engagement to be.
Okay. So what we found between the two tests, so both tests would be something that we could certainly use to measure the engagement. It's just a matter of what we wanted to focus on. The MSLQ test, the engagement scores reflect the individual students within the department. Students and faculty will have the results that show how the students score and with respect to each other, as well as with respect to the scale determined within the institution. This would be perfect if if an instructor wanted to be able to target specific students, or if there are students that score low in a number of categories, we need to figure out how to connect that student with the programs that we have to offer at the university. The NSSE test will take a look at how your programs are working as a whole, and if the scores are low, a department or a university can look at, we need to reevaluate the programs that we have to offer. So in order to evaluate our instruction, our programs, and the services that we have to offer, we feel that the NSSE test will be the best one for us. It is possible that you could use both tests, one to evaluate the effectiveness of your program compared to other universities, and then you could use the other test to show, well, which students need to have that attention. For our purposes, we want to be able to look at how the programs line up with the other programs offered at other universities. And we know that there's a whole lot more that we can say. Our time is just about over, and let me flash to the last slide here, showing that we actually did some work to find all this information out. And just as a side note, we have done this as a screencast-o-matic with a Google document and a Google Hangout. So hopefully this all worked out very well. We would love to be able to answer questions, and we'd love to be able to talk about this a little bit more. I think we could go on for another 20 minutes about what we found. If you'd like us to send you our actual paper, we would love to be able to do that. And outside of that, I've had a good time. Ladies, you care to add anything at the very end?
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.